My late wife tragically passed away in a car accident, and for her family's sake I pretended she was a wonderful wife. But now I think I'm going to tell them the truth. Anna, my late wife, died in a car accident. Someone lost control of their vehicle and ran her over, and she passed away immediately. We were both 26 at the time. This happened 4 years ago, right before the pandemic. We were going through a rough patch as a couple. She was extremely jealous of me and also very protective of her phone. Shortly after her death, I discovered I had an infection, one of those that is transmitted through intimacy. And surprise, surprise, she had been cheating on me. On the day she passed, a guy we went to college with and were somewhat friends with sent her messages asking for pictures of their last encounter. From the way he talked, it seemed recent, and as if they communicated often. I managed to access her phone and laptop, as she hadn't changed her passwords. She always asked to check my phone, so I had hers in exchange and knew her password. There wasn't much to find because she had deleted or hidden things very well. But the most recent messages, those after her death, were still there. While looking for the pictures he asked for, I found images of her and him in a RAR file deep within a random folder in her work files on her laptop. In one of them she had short hair, which she only had right after we got engaged. So she had been with him for at least 3 years of our 6 years together. I also found pictures of 2 other guys, but I have no idea who they are, and there were no messages from either of them. I messaged this friend, told him I knew everything, mentioned the STD, and assured him I wouldn't tell anyone, and wanted it kept a secret forever. I asked if anyone else knew, and he said that his ex knew, but that he would speak to her. For the sake of her parents and siblings, I decided to pretend she was a wonderful person and let them keep their happy memories of her. Anna's older brother, Thomas, 34 meters, remains a good friend of mine to this day. I'd even say we're best friends. 2 years after my wife's passing, I felt ready to date again. Thomas said he knew the perfect girl for me, but he wanted me to be sure I was ready for something serious before introducing us. That girl was his sister-in-law, Laura, 27 feet. We had known each other only superficially, but hadn't really talked until our first date. I fell for her quickly and intensely. We started dating, and about 3 months in, we were already saying I love you and talking about marriage. It has been a little less than 2 years. We're now engaged, and I've never been this happy. I told her all about my relationship with Anna. I still have evidence of what happened saved on my computer, and I shared it with Laura. She cried a little and comforted me, but I assured her I was okay and that I was over it. The problem lies with Anna's family, especially her mom and sister. Ever since Anna's passing, whenever they talk about her, they expect me to join in. They asked me to reminisce about her and include me in conversations about her. Anna was such a good cook, right? I loved when she and you would ban her. You remember, right? Things like that. At first, I got by saying it was hard for me to talk about her, that I wasn't ready. They gave me some space. But ever since I started dating Laura, I haven't been able to use the "I'm not ready" excuse. Her friends, sister, and mom seem annoyed if I don't sound either enthusiastic or devastated. It's easier to look devastated. I've learned. If I talk about Anna in any way that doesn't make her seem like an angel who blessed us all with her presence, I get side-eyed. Thankfully, Thomas and her father are great guys and don't push me too hard. Her dad is always appreciative that I attend family gatherings as we share interests in our field of work. He always says he considers me a son. But her mom and sister can get pretty hostile if I try to avoid the topic of Anna. Once her sister even said outright that it was obvious I didn't love Anna. She apologized later, but honestly, she wasn't wrong. By the end, I didn't, and I definitely don't now. Look, I'm over what happened. I don't feel hatred toward Anna anymore. Sometimes I find myself wishing she were alive so I wouldn't have to pretend, but also because her death was a tragedy. A lot of people loved her. Her friends organize a gathering for her birthday, which is incredibly hard for me, even though I know her affair partner will be there. I go because I know how much she meant to them, but all of this is starting to affect Laura. I can't openly say I love her in front of these people, and I can't even hug her without Anna's sister getting moody. Her best friend has stopped speaking to Laura. They were friends too. At Thomas's birthday party last week, Anna's mom even came up to us and asked us to stop dancing to respect her grief. She also contacted my mom and Laura's parents, saying she was incredibly disappointed that I proposed to Laura so soon and that we're moving too fast. It's been 4 years. Even if Anna hadn't been unfaithful, more than enough time has passed. I'm just over it, and I'm seriously considering telling them all what happened just to get this weight off my back. Relevant comments? Comment 1. Like this. Maybe preface it truthfully. I have some information about your sister that I have kept to myself out of love and respect for your family. Do you want to hear this information? It has some bearing on the unnecessary questions your mother and sister keep asking me and the guilt they try to put me through. Something robotic along those lines, but hitting the key points. Keep in mind that this might end the relationship with them and possibly him. They might always take your deceased cheating wife's side for eternity. They might flip it around to you somehow, being the cheater. Grief is rough, and some people act irrationally. Comment, too. I would actually like to see something like this done, but specifically with Anna's brother. Best friend, privately and respectfully. Something like, you know how much I respect you and how much you guys mean to me. So I want to bring this to you and see what your thoughts are. Before Anna's passing, we were going through a difficult time, and there were some unflattering things about her that came to light. I don't want anything to soil her memory for family and friends, but I also am concerned about the behavior and responses that we are getting as my relationship with Laura progresses. How would you suggest I address these issues with people that are giving me and Laura a difficult time about our relationship? I could certainly tell them about what was going on with Anna, but I don't want to cause any unnecessary pain. I respect your opinion immensely. I just need to protect my relationship from unnecessary negativity and would greatly appreciate your input. Then you can follow your best friend's lead. Update? Hello again. I apologize for not replying to most of you. There were too many comments, and I couldn't respond to them all. Thank you so much for caring, though. I'm only updating because I received so many DMs asking for it. And I personally dislike reading something with no resolution, since I think there's no harm in doing so. Here I am. There's something I'd like to add that didn't feel relevant before. However, seeing so many people saying unkind things about Anna made me realize it's important for some to understand how I feel about her. Maybe it isn't relevant, but I feel like saying it and putting it out there. Anna loved me. She really did. She wasn't some monster out to make me miserable or make me a fool. I saw how she talked about me to others. She genuinely loved me. She was worried I would divorce her and spoke to people about how to turn our marriage around and get it back on track. The issue was that she had a kink I had absolutely no desire to partake in. She brought it up a couple of times, once early in the relationship, and again after we got married. I refused both times unequivocally and was particularly judgmental about it. All the pictures I found were of her in those kink scenarios. So yes, she was intimately frustrated and used those men to satisfy that need. But she loved me. She was just very selfish, reckless, and honestly, a bit foolish. I believe that I'm saying this because, while she was a terrible wife, cheating on me for years due to a kink, She was not a terrible person, just a terrible partner. There's a reason so many people loved her deeply. I followed my gut and decided to talk to Thomas. It seems many others reached the same conclusion, that this was the best approach. Laura and I went to his house and we spoke to him and his wife, Laura's sister. I told them that I was only bringing this up. Now Maya and Laura's lives are being affected by how people perceive me as Anna's husband. People want me to be a positive memory of her life, but being reminded that I was married to her feels like a gut punch, and I've reached my limit. Yet, I kept trying for the sake of her family, knowing how much she meant to so many. I explained that I no longer loved the person Anna had become by the time she died, and that we were likely headed for divorce, even before I found out. About everything. The only reason I hadn't shared this with anyone was that I didn't want to tarnish her memory or hurt those who loved her. But now, this decision has backfired, as I'm expected to act as if she was perfect. I framed the conversation so that they could choose to know more if they wanted, or stay ignorant if that was easier. Thomas wanted the full story, so I told him. He asked to see the proof, but I warned him that the pictures were intimate and graphic, and probably not something he should see. He asked his wife to look at them instead. I showed her the images, and she confirmed their contents to Thomas, even flinching at how bad they were. He asked if it happened just once. I told him it involved 3 different men, with one ongoing for at least 3 years that I knew of. He was angry, swearing a lot, not at me, but at the situation. I started to regret bringing it up. He kept saying, why was she so damn stupid, and called Anna foolish several times. He asked for some time to process everything and went out for a while. I left Laura and her sister talking and went for a drive myself. About an hour later, Thomas called and asked me to come back. When I returned, he and Monica hugged me. She was crying a lot. He asked me what I wanted to do. I told him that all I want is to move on and be happy with Laura. He said he would handle things with his mom and sister, so I wouldn't need to worry about them anymore, but that I should distance myself from his family and Anna's friends for a while. He told me I'm his brother, and that would never change. We hugged, and that was it. Since then, my ex-sister-in-law has reached out, saying she knew Anna was cheating on me, but thought we were working through it. Anna had told her about it a year before she died, saying she planned to come clean and try to work on the marriage. Now, with Thomas having told her the whole story, she has apologized a lot. She admitted that she'd been ignoring Anna's flaw since her passing, which has become unhealthy for both her and her mom. She offered to help me in any way regarding this matter. We're keeping Anna's parents, especially my ex-Mil, in the dark about all this. I plan to spend time with my ex-Phil now and then, since he and my new Phil are good friends. Thomas and I have even talked about taking them fishing, golfing, or maybe to a bar at least once a month. As for my ex-Mil, I'll keep our interactions to a minimum. So yeah, I think it worked out well. Laura wants to speed up our wedding plans, so hopefully we'll get married in March or April. We had initially discussed a long engagement, but there's really no point in waiting. We both know what we want. And I'm happy. Very happy. Thank you all for the support.